Oh, thank you.
It's off.
Yeah. Good evening. The time is 6 p.m. We'll call to order the January 13th meeting of the Huxley City Council. Roll call, please.
Murphy,
Here.
Etcher,
Here.
Roberts, here, Mulder,
Here.
Rigler,
Here. Thank you. And we are streaming live on YouTube. Need a motion to approve the agenda?
I give a motion. Second.
A motion and a motion by Mulder, second by Etcher. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now is the time in the agenda for public comment. Anybody in the public wishing to speak on any agenda or non-agenda items this evening is certainly welcome to. If you would like to speak, we just ask that you come to the lectern and start with your name and address and limit your time to 5 minutes. Is there anybody from the public wishing to be heard this evening? Okay, seeing no one rise. Ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
For a motion.
Motion Rigler,
Mulder, second.
second Mulder. We do have a number of routine items on the agenda. I do want to thank Shelby and Gordy for continuing to serve on planning and zoning, and welcome Uriah to the board as well. So with that, any further discussion? I would ask for a roll call, please.
Etcher,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Roberts, yes, Rigler,
Yes.
Moving along this evening, item 5A, I need a motion to approve resolution 26003. It's approving volunteer reception center for emergency response. Need a motion.
give you a motion.
Motion by Ms. Roberts, second by Mr. Mulder. Kaylin is here tonight as well if you have any questions on this. Pretty straightforward. Any discussion? Hearing none. Have a motion in a second. Roll call, please.
Mulder,
Yes.
Roberts, yes, Rigler,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Moving along, item 5B this evening, in a motion to approve resolution 26004. It's a resolution approving the preliminary plat for Blue Sky Lakeview Estates, Outlot Z of Blue Sky Estates Plat 1, an official plat, and Outlot Y of Blue Sky Commons Plat 2, an official plat of Huxley, Iowa, except that part of said Outlot Y conveyed to the state of Iowa. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion Etcher,
I'll second.
second Mulder. Start with you, Forrest, please.
So we have reviewed the preliminary plat and we find it acceptable, and there is a representative this evening that can answer questions as well about the preliminary plat. Mr. Culp from Snyder Associates. The only comments I point out to the council, I put them in the letter, is that number one, Outlot X is proposed to be a private pond. So just want to make sure council is aware of that. Two, there is no public trail proposed to connect this subdivision to the Heart of Iowa Trail. The comp plan shows it kind of wandering through here. When we did the development to the west of this, the decision was to run that trail up 560th to make that connection. So these residents would go west through the subdivision to the west and then go north along 560th to get to the trail. And there is a parkland dedication they submitted, and staff is reviewing that location and making sure it's an appropriate dedication spot.
Thank you, Forrest. Did you have anything to add this evening? So, want to give you the opportunity if you'd like to. Okay, on behalf of the developer. Okay. Any questions from council on this preliminary plat? Hearing none. I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Roberts, yes, Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Moving along this evening, item 6 is reports from staff. We'll start with anybody. Seeing some heads nodding. No reports. Okay. Forrest, anything this evening? Okay. Okay. Aaron. Okay, Barb.
Dave and I'll be meeting to go over the rough draft of the fiscal year 27 budget this week and starting to meet with department heads next week. Good news is it looks like we will be able to keep our levy rate at the same rate it was the year before.
Just a couple things. The big news of the day, I did print out an email that came from DOT. Dylan Klein and I attended the commission workshop this morning. And we had applied originally for an immediate needs RISE grant for the Project Lion project, which is paving a half mile of 560th, approximately 1,500 feet running west to where their property would be, as well as then the improvements on at 210 and 560th. We had originally proposed doing some turn lanes. Forrest put the work together. We submitted those to DOT. DOT came back and said, well, we really like to see a roundabout there. Can you do that? So Forrest went back to the drawing board, did that. Actually, the roundabout option is about $300,000 cheaper than the turn lanes, and there's quite a bit less right of way that's needed to do the roundabout versus a turn lane. So we did get a favorable approval from the DOT for just a little under $2.1 million, which is about half of the project. We're asking for the other half through an EDA grant that we're working with Andrew Collins down at MIPA. We're applying for funds for the extension of the water and the sanitary sewer, as well as the other part of the road. So now that we know what RISE was going to commit, we're able to finish up our application and get it into EDA as soon as possible. We do have, I talked to Forrest this afternoon. We do need to visit with the folks at the Palestine Church as well as the Brendelin family with the roundabout. We'll need to acquire some additional right of way. So we're going to try to set up some meetings in the next week to visit with those parties, kind of show them what we're looking at. The roundabout will be set such that we don't interfere with anything on the cemetery side. So Forrest has done a good job of getting that put together. I guess the other thing is I had submitted the annexation request for the property there at 560th and First Street. Prior to Christmas, I heard from Jessica Drake while I was out after surgery, and I visited with her today. I addressed a couple more questions for her. So that annexation will go to the City Development Board on February 11th. And if it's approved there, it'll be another 30-day kind of a waiting period, much like for the Brendelin and the Clark and the DOT property annexation. There'll be a 30-day window afterwards. So we've got that in the works going on. Did want to point out prior to the next meeting on the 27th, Brenda has visited with the gardeners. I thought she had visited with the folks at Finsky's, but evidently she had not. It was just through Chris Garner. But they're proposing to have an open house for council, HDC members, and city staff at 5 o'clock to come out and take a look at Finsky's, the event space, the coffee house, prior to our meeting at 6 o'clock. I had an invitation. It just was too big to print on any size of paper that we had. So I said that I would point it out. I will send a reminder, and we will post something on the door prior to as well that there could be a quorum of council members out at that open house. So but that is scheduled for 5 p.m. on the 27th out at 414 Anthem Drive. I think that's, originally they were hoping, I think, the first part of February. I talked to Steve a couple times today, but he didn't really indicate. I think they're getting really close. I know they've been working on trying to hire staff, so I think they're excited to get open. I'm just not sure. I will see if I can find out a little more info and pass that along as well.
Thank you, David. Mr. Murphy.
Can I ask?
Well, I'm sorry.
Sorry. So we're gonna have a roundabout at 69 and 210. We're gonna have a roundabout at 210 and 560th. Just wanna know when Start getting questions. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, as part of the commission meeting this morning, they, prior to talking about the RISE projects, they brought up all the crash analysis for the last year. And the total number of traffic deaths was down quite a bit. And they talked a lot about the changes that they've made and how the roundabouts have helped with that, along with some other things that the DOT has been doing over the last probably decade to lower those. But
I'm
they are very
assuming-
favorable to those.
Sure. So is this a DOT project then? Unlike Chris's was Chris project and then the DOT signed off, this is a DOT project.
The RISE project, we will follow, Forest, for the RISE, we have to follow the DOT bid letting and all their improvements. So because we're getting funding from them, so that will be a bid letting that will follow the state requirements. And the one at 210, that would be a DOT project in and of itself at 210 and 69. And then depending on what we do with the annexation, if they move forward, there at 560th and First Street, there's a proposed roundabout there as well.
Right, and then a couple more follow-ups. So will they be done at the same time?
The
So-
hope is, no, I know that was a question that John and I discussed the other day, is that the one at 69 and 210 is scheduled to be let in 27 and constructed in 28. Our hope is to have this one done probably early,
Oh,
hopefully early 27. And I'm not sure about the one at First and 560th yet. Yeah, I know, that was in the initial, when the application was submitted. That was the date that we were kind of hoping for, and it never got changed, but I think in talking with Jennifer, she understands it probably won't be there, but that was just pulled out of that application.
and then my final question, we are still, the county is still not supportive to pave all the way to Polk County.
That is correct. And again, Mr. Murphy and I had a conversation. We're gonna do some door knocking here, hopefully in the next few weeks, and kind of visit with some of the property owners south to see if we can get some additional property annexed into where it would, then we could use city tax dollars to finish paving that last half mile. If of that last half mile remains totally in the county, then we really can't use
Sure.
tax dollars from the city of Huxley to pave that last half mile of road down to Polk County line.
Thank you.
Any comments this evening, Mr. Murphy?
No, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mulder.
Tracy, I was down in Des Moines last weekend and I was down in Johnston and I came kind of the back route home and through Polk City and through our roundabout, and I made it through 10 roundabouts to get home the other day. So there are becoming more and more and traffic. Yeah, so
They just become really difficult for farm equipment.
yeah, I understand it, and that center ring is made for traffic to drive across the trailers or, you know, oversized or longer equipment to go over there. It's designed for that, but yeah, I get you. There's a lot of roundabouts coming to our little community here, so, but they are proven out to be really safe. So just wanted to add that comment too. Jeff, there's a sign, if that development down there in Anthem 120 stuff, there's a sign out in front of Huxcom that says not a through street on South Main Street or something as you're going south through there. You might want to look at that if it's open where we can get out past Finsky's or some of those other turn lanes, that sign might be ready to come down. At least I saw it over the weekend, was still up. Maybe you got it today, I don't know, but so just wanted to make that comment. And I also was curious on, I know we've talked about a comp plan update a few times and was just kind of curious on what the status of that was.
I had hoped to get the RFP out before I went to surgery. I didn't get that done, so my goal is to have it out Friday of this week. it's basically done. I just need to get the folks I'm gonna that I'm gonna send it to and send it. So it's ready to go, but just ran out of time before surgery and the holidays.
I appreciate that and thanks for the update. Yeah, I know it's just been brought up a few times over the last few years, especially as the rezoning that we just did and some others. Yep, yep. Okay, thanks for that update. That's all I have, Mayor.
So I talked to Dave today. Last year when we finished up the budget, we did the raises and so forth. And it was pretty much unanimous that we kind of wanted a wage study done before this year's. So just wanted to make sure that we're on that and we're going to get that done. Dave said he had a couple places that he was looking at to possibly do. Yes.
Yeah, I hope to have something for you to consider at your next meeting. So.
Yep, I have one more. So I know I asked, I gave Barb a call and then I know she reached out to you, Jeff. I know we don't control the speed limit signs on 69. I knew that before I asked the question. But have we reached out to the DOT? It's just like there's no warning. You get up there and it says 25 and I'm telling you, I can't take that thing more than 15. I mean, I could probably try 25. It's not a good idea.
55.
But are we gonna get some kind of warning signs or something to reduce speed before that? Can we ask, can we keep poking them?
So those are.
I reached out to the traffic tech in District 1 last Friday afternoon and left him a voicemail and said, I'd really like him to take a look at that. So
Yeah,
hopefully
25 is
Gary
too
gets back
fast.
to us
Yeah.
Soon.
All right, and then coming from the stop sign, there's no sign, so you don't even know.
But those signs are not actual a speed limit sign. It's a suggested speed limit for that. So it's just like you'll come up on on the interstate on curves and so forth. Those are suggested speeds. So,
So you can't get a ticket for going.
That's good confirmation to know.
yeah. So but what I'm saying is, it's like, it's a suggested speed. Unless they put up an actual speed zone sign.
Regulatory black and.
Right.
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 I'd still suggest a.
I do not have any additional items this evening. So that will conclude our regular business for this evening. We do have a work session this evening with 2 items. The first is item 7A, and it's a discussion regarding the Larson Field improvements. Heather.
So in your packets, there's the brief description of the reasoning why Park Board is pursuing this. With all of our talks at Park Board, we have multiple things that we'd like to finish in our park system before we move on and add additional park systems, which I know we've talked about before. One of the biggest ones is obviously Centennial Park. Larson, we consider part of Centennial Park, and if you ever go down there after a rain or a rain event, even after this last week, there's quite a bit of water that pools into certain areas and it limits the use of a lot of that field. So what we are asking as a park board, especially because our personal soccer program numbers have increased substantially. We had 10 3 and 4-year-old teams this last year in the fall, and less on the 5, 6, 7, 8. But when we have 10 teams out there, we have to have 5 3, 4-year-old fields. We already have 7 and 8-year-old fields. Those are actually decent in that area. That is just to the east of the parking lot. However, we also have allowed Ballard Soccer Club to use the fields, and we would like to see that area, once we had the traffic issues addressed last year with all the people that parked on 69 and West Centennial, which I know is still a concern, but we moved football over to the west side of Centennial Park. So we are trying to make Larson a soccer destination where we could have multiple fields. And with the water situation, we are constantly moving fields around to avoid the water issues. The grass with seeding, everything like that has not been good there. There's been a lot of overuse of certain areas. So what the park board would like to do is have engineering done to maybe get the ground to a level area where the drainage would go all on the perimeter in the ditches that are already somewhat there, and then try to increase the space that we are able to use. At the same time, we would like to get water and sewer hookups for that, so that if we are to build a restroom there, we're already set for that. And also possibly consider irrigation in the future to, again, maintain our fields and have a better soccer area for our community. And that is a small thing that they were asking. This will come out of our general budget, not a CIP. Obviously, if we move further with this program, it's going to be a big budget item. Larson and Centennial Park are the park board's primary focuses right now to get them finished, and that includes parking lot, which parking lot is going to be a big substantial thing, because as we continue to have soccer fields increase use, we're going to need more parking. So the parking lot, I know I've talked to Dave multiple times about trying to get the one at North Park done at Centennial sooner, so that we can help remedy that parking situation that we've continued to have, and then work on the west side of North Park. But that is why we are looking at, and we've talked about this over the years, but Park Board is recommending that we push this forward and hopefully increase the usable space over at Larson.
Appreciate those comments, Heather. Any questions or discussion from council?
I'm gonna stick with my original beliefs on this, that we should do the parking lots first. And the reason of that is we require businesses, companies, residentials to do their parking lots before we approve. The actual parking lot was, Centennial Park was 1982. And we still haven't put a parking lot in there, where the park was developed in 1982. So I think doing anything else on Larson is putting the cart before the horse. So we definitely need that parking area. I think more people would be parking there if we had it. And I think that's just my belief. I don't know what anybody else.
Dave, could you tap into that? Because you've talked about ways that we could possibly get that parking lot done separate than Park Board, I should say, so.
Well, I believe that the park sits within our original URA, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to double check that. I'd have to double check the maps, but I think we looked at it. But I believe it's in our original URA, our urban renewal area, to where we could, depending upon the cost, we'd have to weigh that against how it affects the general, what comes into the general fund. But there could be a possibility of pulling some dollars for a couple of years to pave those areas. But I'd want to just double check those to make sure that, and I do believe it's in the original URA, but I want to make sure. So.
If we did that, regardless, you already have the money set aside. You've already said.
We have
you're
the
gonna
money
use it.
sitting
Yeah.
in a basic account for this. However, going back to that, Park Board has talked about what our CIPs are. And I guess what our impression is that with our conversations about the parking lot, the idea was to use TIF money or our general separate budget for the parking lots at Centennial Park.
Yeah, your intent would never be to use the money you have set aside for a parking lot. That was your hope, not
Oh,
have to do
that would be
right?
significantly,
Yeah.
that would definitely be a CIP focus item, which is not what we're talking about here. Obviously, if we get the engineering done, it would be a CIP. It's just like when we did the engineering for the master park or the trail system. It was the concept that we can move forward on in the future, but obviously that has not really been done yet.
Heather, is there and maybe I misunderstood this, is there an opportunity at some point or desire to expand the parking at the Larson sports fields, or is that the largest you would ever see that being?
I would say that that's the largest we would see it, because we would like to eventually have a restroom facility out there, and with the grass space, they're already limited, which is why we're trying to maximize the use of that space. So there has never been any discussion on Park Board about increasing that size, which is again, back to Rory's comment, we would like to get and we talked about this too, when we brought this forward, we were gonna need to get that parking lot at North Park done so that we have additional parking.
Could the park area off the North Park, Cause I know I walk that all the time. Behind the baseball field, there's an upper level. Can we
Mhm.
use that for,
Additional
the-
parking?
no, for soccer?
That ground is used for a rec field, and it's also been used for like the Ballard Soccer Club to practice. It is very uneven. At that time when it was low, probably been 8 or 9 years where they just basically brought dirt in and dropped it there. Because at one point in time, that was gonna be a future site of a parking lot. With that being said, flag football uses it out there, and I know we have talked about leveling that too, because the ground conditions are not good, so it would take quite a bit of work. We did talk about possibly making a nice field over in that area, closer to the northwest corner as a nice big soccer site. However, Park Board, like I said, has talked about trying to make this our soccer location, have it all in one location. And then we would continue to use flag football fields in the area that you were kind of suggesting. And honestly, in our master plan, it would be to have a fourth ball diamond in that location too.
Yeah, I have kids who are in soccer and flag football. I do think it's helped moving flag football over to Centennial. I'm also still in support of paving Centennial, but if there's funding or, allotment in the parks budget for it, I'm definitely interested in hearing or seeing it out. I can attest to the drainage problems, and it can be frustrating as a volunteer coach, even when you're, working with Carrie or you and trying to figure out, like, you have multiple teams and we have this big space out there. You had the satellite map pulled up. You can see the poor drainage areas. So it's like, I feel like we're not utilizing our full footprint because of the way it drains right now. There get to be these low spots that are just muddy pits. So.
Thank you, Mr. Rigler.
I would not be against things if we have money in the budget currently. I definitely would want to look at the upcoming budget if there's additional funds that need to be had, because I think we have a lot of needs before wants. I mean, we've got a lot of wants in town, but I also think we have some needs that we need to address also. So any additional funds, I definitely want to look at it from a budget perspective.
Okay, fair enough. Any additional questions or comments from council on this work session item? Okay, thank you very much, Heather.
Thank you.
Moving along, our second work session item this evening is discussion regarding temporary lighting at the roundabout on Highway 69 and Anthem. David?
I had reached out to Chris Gardner to see if he was available to be here this evening. He was not. He's out of the country this week. He did come in Friday, was aware. He's seen the comments on Chatty Shack. He's had calls himself. With the temporary lighting that was put out there, it was based on solar. We had a lot of foggy days, a lot of dreary days, and it wasn't working. So last week, either Thursday, I think it was Thursday, they actually have a temporary generator that's hooked up to this unit during the day. They run it, charge it. And according to one of our newest residents that we get a report every morning, at least at 6:30 in the morning, those lights are still on bright. So it's hopeful that that will solve that problem. I know Chris had talked about potentially moving it out of the center of there and actually plugging it into the new strip center and having it down close to that curb, but I'm not sure that we would get adequate light maybe to the east side. I kind of like where it's at with that. I do know that the lights have been ordered. Jeff and I have both talked with folks at Alliant and have vindicated that when the first lights come in, we'd like to see those lights be the first ones to be put in. In fact, you just approved the streetlight resolution for us to pay for the power for those once they go up. So, I guess we'll continue to monitor at least staff wise, but at least since they have been running a generator, charging it all day, it doesn't seem that we've had the issues yet. So, but I'm open to anything else anybody has.
Any comments from staff or question, or I'm sorry, for council?
Yeah, I would just like to say that to me, it doesn't matter if it was solar or not. The intent of the agreement was to have lighting. And if we don't have lighting, then we aren't following the intent of the agreement. So we either follow the intent of the agreement or we cancel the agreement.
Fair comment. Any additional comments from council? Okay, with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Roberts.
Yes.
Second by Mr. Mulder. All those in favor, please respond with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is January 27th. Have a good evening.